She stole $25 billion from over 3 million people across 175 countries. And then, she simply disappeared. The FBI has her on their most wanted list. Interpol has issued a red notice. Every intelligence agency in the world knows her name. Nobody has found her. Her name is Ruja Ignatova, and the fraud she built, called OneCoin, was the single largest cryptocurrency scam in human history. $25 billion gone. Stay with me for the next 15 minutes, because by the end of this investigation, you will understand exactly how she did it, who helped her, and why the most wanted financial criminal on Earth has never been found. This is Verdict, because every $1 billion that disappears leaves a trail, and we find it. You are about to hear something that will make you question everything you think you know about cryptocurrency. OneCoin was not a cryptocurrency. It never was. There was no blockchain. There was no mining. There were no real coins. It was a spreadsheet, a number in a database that Ruja Ignatova and her team could change at any moment to show whatever value they wanted. And 3 million people around the world paid real money for numbers in that spreadsheet, believing they were buying the future of finance. To understand how this was possible, you need to understand who Ruja Ignatova was. Not who she pretended to be, who she actually was. Ruja Ignatova was born in Bulgaria in 1980. Her family emigrated to Germany when she was 10 years old. She was, by every documented account, exceptionally intelligent. She studied law at the University of Constance in Germany. She earned a doctorate in European private law from the University of Oxford. She spoke 5 languages fluently. She had worked at the management consulting firm McKinsey. She drove a Porsche. She wore designer clothes. She gave speeches at the Economist conferences in London. On paper, Ruja Ignatova was the most credible person in any room she entered. And she knew exactly how to use that. In 2014, she launched OneCoin. Her pitch was simple and perfectly timed. Bitcoin had already made early investors extraordinarily wealthy. Ethereum was emerging. The world was beginning to understand that cryptocurrency could generate life-changing returns. Ruja Ignatova walked onto stages across Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East in designer dresses with a team of bodyguards and told audiences something they desperately wanted to hear. Bitcoin was the past. OneCoin was the future. And if they got in now, they would never have to work again. The crowds were enormous. In Macau, she filled the stadium. In Sofia, thousands queued for hours. In Lagos, in Dubai, in Singapore, the story was the same. A brilliant, Oxford-educated, multilingual woman in a red dress, standing in front of a screaming crowd, holding a coin that did not exist. Chapter 2. The Fraud. The architecture of OneCoin was not sophisticated. It was simple, and that simplicity was deliberate. Investors purchased educational packages, not coins, packages. The packages contained learning materials about cryptocurrency and tokens that could be used to mine OneCoin. Packages ranged in price from 100 euros to 118,000 euros. The most expensive package was called the Tycoon Trader Package, 118,000 euros. People bought it. Doctors sold their practices to buy it. Farmers in Uganda mortgaged their land. Families in Pakistan liquidated their life savings. Teachers in Vietnam pooled their salaries for years. The coins they received existed only in OneCoin's private database, a database that Ruja controlled entirely. When the coin price needed to go up, she changed the number. When she needed to show trading volume, she generated fake trades internally. When investors asked to see the blockchain, her team showed them a fabricated technical document. There was no external blockchain, confirmed by every technical expert who later examined the evidence. Every single one. The money that came in from investors did not go into developing technology. It went into Ruja Ignatova's accounts, into a super yacht called the Divina, into a mansion in Sofia, into a private jet, into properties across Europe and the Middle East, and into the pockets of a network of promoters who recruited new investors in exchange for commissions. This is where OneCoin became truly dangerous. It was not just a fake cryptocurrency, it was a multi-level marketing machine. Every investor was incentivized to recruit new investors. The more people they brought in, the more commissions they earned. This structure meant that ordinary people, teachers, nurses, taxi drivers, small business owners, became unknowing salespeople for a fraud. Many of them lost not only their own savings, but their relationships, their reputations, and sometimes their freedom, when the people they recruited lost everything. Between 2014 and 2017, OneCoin raised an estimated $25 billion. To put that number in context, Bernie Madoff's fraud, the most famous Ponzi scheme in history, stole approximately $17 billion over 40 years. OneCoin stole $25 billion in 3 years. 3 million investors across 175 countries. The largest single victim group by country was China, followed by India, followed by Nigeria, followed by the United Kingdom. In some countries, the losses were so widespread they became national news. In Uganda, the government launched a parliamentary inquiry. In Pakistan, law enforcement received thousands of individual complaints. In the UK, members of parliament raised OneCoin in the House of Commons. And throughout all of this, Ruja Ignatova continued giving speeches, continued selling packages, continued changing the numbers in her database to show whatever coin price she needed investors to see. Chapter 4. The Warning Signs. Here is what makes the OneCoin story different from every other financial fraud in this investigation. There were warning signs, loud, specific, documented warning signs from the very beginning. In 2015, 1 year after OneCoin launched, the Bulgarian financial regulator published a formal warning. It was ignored. In 2016, Italy, Hungary, and Germany all issued official regulatory warnings about OneCoin. They were ignored. In 2016, the financial regulator in Samoa issued a warning so strong it described OneCoin as a suspected Ponzi scheme. It was ignored. Cryptocurrency experts, blockchain developers, and financial journalists published detailed technical analyses explaining precisely why OneCoin could not be a real cryptocurrency. The analyses were shared widely. They were ignored. The reason they were ignored is the most important lesson in this entire investigation. Ruja Ignatova had anticipated every objection. She had scripted responses to every technical challenge. She had trained her promoters to dismiss criticism as the reaction of threatened Bitcoin maximalists who feared competition. When regulators issued warnings, her team told investors the warnings were evidence that OneCoin was disrupting the existing financial system, that the banks were scared, that the establishment was trying to protect itself from the revolution she was leading. And investors believed it because they wanted to believe it, because they had already invested money they could not afford to lose. And the only alternative to believing was accepting they had been robbed. On October 1, 2017, Ruja Ignatova boarded a Ryanair flight from Sofia, Bulgaria to Athens, Greece. She never arrived at her destination. She has not been seen publicly since. At the time of her disappearance, U.S. federal investigators had already been building a case against her for months. An indictment was being prepared. Several of her associates had already begun cooperating with authorities. Somebody told her. Exactly who is still under investigation. What happened after she boarded that flight in Sofia is one of the most documented mysteries in international law enforcement. In June 2018, the U.S. Department of Justice unsealed a federal indictment against Ruja Ignatova. Wire fraud, securities fraud, money laundering. She was charged with stealing billions of dollars from investors worldwide. She did not appear in court because nobody knew where she was. In 2022, the FBI added Ruja Ignatova to their 10 most wanted list, one of only 10 people on Earth considered a priority fugitive by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They offered a $250,000 reward for information leading to her arrest. She was still not found. In 2023, the reward was doubled, $500,000. Still not found. Investigators have tracked possible sightings across multiple countries: Dubai in 2018, Greece in 2019, Russia in 2020, various locations across Eastern Europe and the Middle East in subsequent years. None of the sightings have led to an arrest. None have been definitively confirmed. As of the production of this video, Ruja Ignatova remains one of the most wanted fugitives in the world. A woman with a doctorate from Oxford, fluent in 5 languages, in possession of an unknown but significant portion of $25 billion. Completely invisible. Chapter 6. What happened to everyone else? While Ruja Ignatova disappeared, everyone around her faced consequences. Her brother, Konstantin Ignatov, who took over running OneCoin after her disappearance, was arrested at Los Angeles International Airport in March 2019. He pleaded guilty. He became a cooperating witness for U.S. federal prosecutors. He is awaiting sentencing. Sebastian Greenwood, OneCoin's co-founder and chief promoter, was arrested in Thailand in 2018, extradited to the United States, pleaded guilty to wire fraud and money laundering. He faces up to 40 years in federal prison. Irina Dilkinska, the head of legal and compliance at OneCoin, was arrested in Bulgaria in 2023, extradited to the United States, pleaded guilty. Dozens of promoters across Europe, Asia, and Africa have been arrested, charged, and convicted. The investors who lost everything have received almost no restitution. 3 million people, $25 billion. Most of it is still missing, because the woman who took it is still missing. The OneCoin story is not over. It is not a closed case with a resolved ending. It is an active investigation with an open warrant, a fugitive at large, and billions of dollars unaccounted for. Somewhere in the world, right now, a woman with a doctorate from Oxford, $500,000 on her head, and the blood of 3 million defrauded investors on her hands, is living a life that the people she stole from will never have. Before this video ends, there are 3 things you need to know. First, OneCoin's promotional network still operates in some countries. People are still being recruited. If someone approaches you with an investment opportunity that promises better returns than Bitcoin, that requires you to buy an educational package to get started, that has a referral program paying commissions for new recruits, walk away immediately. Second, the OneCoin structure is a template. New frauds using identical mechanics launch every year under different names. The coin changes, the woman in the red dress changes, the pitch changes. The structure never changes. Educational packages, referral commissions, a private database presented as a blockchain, a charismatic leader with impressive credentials, and a promise that this time you are early. Third, if you know anything about the current location of Ruja Ignatova, the FBI tip line is tips.fbi.gov. The reward is $500,000. She is still out there. Share this video with one person who invests in cryptocurrency, not because they are naive, but because Ruja Ignatova specifically targeted educated, financially literate people who believed they understood the market better than average. She was right, and she counted on it. This is Verdict, Financial Crime, Investigated.